Howdy, I'm Eric Franklin with your Fort Hood Garrison Public Affairs Office.
And I am Specialist Garrett Dacca with 11th Signal Brigade.
And I am Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and you are listening to Fort Hood's
Great Big Podcast.
All right, welcome back with us. We have two very special people from the first team. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Command Sergeant Major Shade Munday, the Division Sergeant Major.
Command Sergeant Major Michael Hall, Gray Wolf Sergeant Major.
All right, well, thank you for joining us today on Fort Hood's Great Big Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Definitely.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the soldiers that just got back from NTC. I heard a little bit about that, but can you fill our audience in?
Yeah, so team, we just got back from NTC where we executed an exceptional rotation at the National Training Center. Approximately 3,800 soldiers went out there, accomplished the mission, and gained great value in proficiency within their individual skill sets. Upon our redeployment back here to Fort Hood, our family and our friends welcomed us home after a great training event, and now we are prepping for the next mission.
So real quick before we get past, so of course you guys have both been in the military for a while. Tell us a little bit about how you saw NTC has changed over the years.
So the National Training Center, my actual first rotation at the NTC was back in 2001. Wow. And I can tell you within 20 plus years where I believe it's truly changed is more of a skill level 1 through 4. That's our individual skill level tasks to present day where we're fighting through like combined arms, where we're taking, our fires with our ground maneuver forces and kind of bringing those soldiers together to be experts at combining those arms.
Okay. And so what's the next what's up next for you guys?
For Gray Wolf, we did receive a deployment order on 13 May. We are going to deploy to the country or to Europe to execute a mission with our NATO allies and do great things for our nation.
So with that, this deployment is maybe a little bit different. This may be a lot of soldiers' first deployments. And I know for a lot of people now, this is a different type of deployment than what some soldiers may be used to. Can you just tell us a little bit about what's going into that and prepping the families for that?
Well, what I would say is there's some unknown to this deployment. Many of the soldiers and families, they understand that we have a mission that the president has called for. We are going to go over there and posture our forces as a deterrence. But in the meantime, we are going to continue to train while on European soil, gain proficiency, and just be ready to execute the mission if called upon.
Okay. And just have you been to Europe before, or will this be your first just trip in general to Europe?
This will be my first operational deployment to Europe.
Oh, wow.
But you visited it?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
So for me, obviously, I've been stationed in Europe twice, back in the 90s, a long time ago, and then recently in 2006, but not as a deployment.
You're not that old, Sergeant Major. There's no way that you were in Germany in the 90s. I don't
95.
Not a day over 29, Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
I'd say 36.
It's got to jump a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Got to jump a little bit. I got good hair, is what they say.
It is the hair.
I was 13.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Sergeant Major. Really do.
So for you guys, with the deployment, families have to they go through the same motions. How are you guys prepping families for that separation for that communications?
Couple key things. We had the benefit of onboarding our new Gray Wolf 6, Colonel Gillum, as our new brigade commander in the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Prior to his arrival, each battalion's command team and their leadership executed town hall meetings, which established that clear posture for chain of commands that will remain back here in the States, family readiness leaders, amongst other supporting agencies and what's available for the families. And then we postured the new brigade commander to execute a second series of town hall meetings where it's much more encompassing with family readiness key leaders, our spouses who are going to be leading the brigade while gone. And the great benefit of where we're going in theater over in Europe is the soldiers will be able to posture with the appropriate SIM cards, and communications will be very up and running very early on upon our arrival. So families will hear from their loved ones.
Okay.
And I think from the division standpoint, right, is obviously we're supporting Grey Wolf while they go out there, right? Our families are in full support if anything they need as the deployment continues on for the next few months.
Okay. And I hate to beat the dead horse here, but I'm sure y'all went over OPSEC as well with the family members and the soldiers.
Absolutely. Great, many resources, products available being shot out to our soldiers and families. Reference, what they can speak about through the social media platforms and all the things that we utilize today.
Okay, great.
And then just, I think you said you guys, when you guys got your deployment orders, it's because you guys are the first. You're the best. Like, I don't want to try to toot your horn, but is that what it was? How did that work out for you guys?
We would absolutely agree in Grey Wolf. We are the most ready brigade in the United States military, based upon our execution out at the National Training Center. We have the new Set V3 version 3 tanks. Many of us know that this will be the first time that they deploy into an operational theater to execute and utilize the Army's greatest technology.
Okay.
Right there.
I don't think it's just Grey Wolf, right? Obviously, the first team. Obviously, we get the name for obviously first team.
Yeah,
you got to encompass everybody.
But one of the things, Grey Wolf is probably the most ready brigade. But we also have Blackjack. That's the second. I would say the second most ready brigade in the Army right now. But that doesn't say First Brigade and the other. Currently we have ACB deployed out there right now, so they're just as ready as everybody else. But we'd like to say, obviously, that when they call on the first team, we're all first. We're first in
and ready.
Amen.
So.
That's got to be something proud to feel about.
Oh, every day I'm proud. I mean, personally, I'm proud to be the Division Sergeant Major and just think of some of the histories. Almost 101 years. We'll turn 101 years this year. A lot of first out there. There's a lot of first out there.
Wow. All right. And so speaking about that 101 years, I heard a little birdie told me that y'all developed something called a yellow book for those to kind of understand what's been happening over those 101 years, a little history, a little SOP, standard procedures, kind of.
Yeah, I think the yellow book in most of our terms is, my 1995 time frame, as some of y'all said I was kind of old. But really it's a division standards book. Every division has a standards book. I think ours just needed to be refreshed.
Yeah.
And we brought it back out and we just called it the yellow book, right? Cav yellow. And all we did is we took some of the things that we see as the chain of command and as the leaders in the division that we wanted to readdress and really empower the junior NCOs to actually get out there and make the corrections, on-the-spot corrections, right? Standards and disciplines are what the first team's all about. So we took some of that. There's some other things in the standards book, or the yellow book as we call it, from our cell phone policy. So we recently followed another division out there that created a cell phone policy, and we're really trying to cut down on the late night texting that happened. I think everyone in this room probably agrees there's probably some texting that probably is too late in the evening.
Yeah.
Right.
So 1800 to 05, it really makes a conscious effort to stop the texting. I mean, if there's an emergency, by all means, we will definitely text.
Right.
But we're trying to let the troopers really decompress when they leave work. Work is obviously stressful, as Sergeant Major Hall has talked about, getting ready to go out the door. Second Brigade, is primed whenever they're called upon. But we're really just trying to let them decompress and get back to their families, because that's actually the cell phones are actually causing a lot of stress on the young junior soldier or troopers and NCOs.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna date myself too. I came in the Army in '98, so I'm not too far behind you.
Not too far at all.
But so I know before cell phone time, it was like you had to go physically check on that person, and I'm not saying that we had more time off, but when we were off, we were off. So I think having that standard, or having that, hey, after 1800 to 05, unless it's like something's on fire, let the soldiers be. I think that's a good way to be, because it lets soldiers breathe, and it's like, oh man, I don't have to worry about a random text or random change to a formation or something. So I think that's a really good change. What other standards or something else what else is in the book that you think is important?
So our Thursdays are our leaders time training. Older days we call it sergeant's time training. But definitely, so we went to the point of starting our leaders time training at 08 on Thursdays.
Oh, wow.
Right. So 08 was for specific reasons to get after maybe allowing some families to take their kids to school, eat breakfast with their kids. And really that, we still do PT at about 08, we'll start some kind of road march. But just to give back to the families, that few hours that, a lot of families just miss out with their children. And of course, if you're single, there's all different options. You can sleep in. Maybe you can get up and go to the gym on your own.
Yeah.
Without the organization, doing in PTs. And so really we think that's really getting after what we want to, 4 to 5 hours of continuous training at the individual level, squad leader led training. And then it also, like I said, it benefits the soldiers to come in at 08.
Okay.
Fantastic. And so when soldiers are in processing to the division, are they handed their own personal yellow book, or where can they find this when they're new?
So the yellow book, right, and also in the room is, right, the division PA over there. She's over there. So she's kind of been a little bit of the mastermind on the, like I said, we've had the standards book, but we didn't put it together officially.
Okay.
So we trying to use technology. We use a QR code that's placed throughout, right? It's been emailed out 100 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in our Pegasus troop, which is our where our new troopers go after they in-process the installation, they get the education about it. They actually get a little class on what some of the standards are, and they'll do actually a check on learning.
Okay.
Like a 20-question test that they'll take. I wouldn't say test, I'll say check on learning, because the word test kind of caused some anxiety out there.
Yeah.
But they'll just some things that we think is necessary for them to know, and really to ensure that they review the yellow book.
Okay. And just real quick, because you mentioned it, so I've for those who don't know out there who listen to the podcast, I used to be a journalist here in Central Texas. Tell us a little bit about what the Pegasus troop is.
So Pegasus troop, Pegasus integration troop, right? It's really how we're going to integrate new troopers from private all the way to lieutenant colonel into the division, right? Talking about history, talking about the things that are pertinent to the division, Stetson, spurs, how to wear all that stuff. But really, it's more conditions-based to get out of Pegasus troop. So we want to make sure the young troopers and leaders are established before we actually send them down to the company battery troop, because once they get down to the company battery troop, it's going to time to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's definitely some troopers that might not have a house.
Yeah.
That might stay in Pegasus troop a little bit longer.
Okay.
Definitely with the difficulties of the environment right now locally with housing.
Okay.
So.
All right. And for our listeners, we also do have an old episode going into more detail on the Pegasus troop. It was on February 3rd. You can go and check out that episode for a little more information on the Pegasus troop if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, they were in here before doing the podcast. Got a lot of great feedback. Obviously, we're still, we're still changing it as we go, right? We added the yellow book to it. We've also added financial training inside the Pegasus troop, using local agencies on the installation that help come educate our young troopers on finances and so forth. So I think there's a lot of good payoff. But like I said, private through lieutenant colonel, battalion commanders, and sergeant majors will actually go through Pegasus troop.
Okay. And Sergeant Major, you mentioned history before. I know I shouldn't know your first name, but tell me, I saw a post earlier this week, I think it was this weekend, about your name. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I'll talk about it. So as you know, I'm on social media. I don't run away from it at all. I think the PAO wishes I would run away from it sometimes, right?
I think she does.
Yeah, I do too, right? She's usually telling me something I spelled wrong, and I said, that's just my character, so everyone knows it was actually me posting. But I do post everything. But yeah, so what you're talking about is my first name is Shade.
Yes.
S-H-A-D-E, just like the shade under a tree. So for a long time, I don't think I really knew where it came from. My father's a Vietnam vet. My grandfather's a World War II vet. Parents were divorced. So I had a good relationship with my father for the most part, but he was one of those unfortunate guys that didn't talk about it. So then it comes down through my mom and everything and how it was named. And I know no one can see it, but I have my bracelet on, right? So Specialist 4 William S. Shade. So he was a friend of my father's in Vietnam. He passed away. And then I guess somehow, some way, my dad decided to name me after him. So his middle name is Stephen, so my name is Shade Stephen Munday.
Wow.
So we just kind of flip-flopped and everything. And then recently we were out at, obviously, the Vietnam Memorial, and we finally went out there and we took the piece of paper, we shaded it. We were out there doing some other things, but that's kind of the history of it, and that's where I got the name from. Yeah.
So and so you just mentioned something else. So you come from a long line of military men. How does it feel to now come from a long line and now you're able to sit back and say, okay, look, this is coming not just from me, but this is something that you love. Like it wasn't by accident that you're in the Army.
No, I don't think it by no means. And I think my best friend growing up, when I used to go visit my dad in the summer, was all about military, and I don't think I knew it, right? So I had friends and everything. But yeah, I think I was telling someone the other day, it's like the Army values have been ingrained in me before I think I even knew what Army values were.
Yeah.
I mean, just the upbringing, attention to detail. My grandma used to make me do hospital corners on the bed. I do remember she had the quarter and everything else. So definitely, I mean, I'm proud. What they say, when you love your job, it's not really a job, kind of concept like that. I wake up every day just happy. I mean, I could be tired, but as soon as I see some troopers or even see someone like Sergeant Major Hall there, they motivate me. And there's probably not a day I'm not tired.
Yeah.
But almost 19,000 troopers deserve the leadership that I can provide, or the best leadership that I can provide each and every day.
Okay.
Well, that's a pure example right there why first team's the best team.
See?
I got to admit that too. I'm sorry, 11 SIG, but
See, hey.
Yeah, we'll tell you, we're always recruiting, right?
Oh.
Sergeant Major Hall.
There you go.
Sergeant Major Hall is obviously on the door to get out, and we're always recruiting. And I spend a lot of time with other division sergeant majors, and I think it's all in fun. We all think we have the best division, but I'm a firm believer Fort Hood is a great or a great place to live. So if anyone's ever out there listening and want to come to Fort Hood, you can probably find me on some kind of social media platform.
And he will get you. He will get you into the 1st Cavalry Division, and you will love it.
Love it.
look, you get Spurs, you get a Stetson. Like y'all are spitting a good game. I might
get the biggest shoulder sleeve insignia.
That is
Just saying.
5 1/4 inches, largest patch out there, right? The Army couldn't even design a uniform to fit our patch, so it's big. I think the one thing we're really good at is branding.
Yeah.
Oh, amen.
Right. I will tell you, I spent a lot of time on branding. I spent a lot of time on. I think you got to love the one you're with.
Yeah.
I mean, I've served in some great organization, but you definitely got to love the one you're with.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else y'all want to add to the soldiers or families, to those that will be deploying to Europe?
Just to the soldiers and the families, we just appreciate your hard work and efforts. You have no idea what a tremendous asset you are to to the United States Army, the uniform our country, to the first team. I do want to throw a thank you out to even our sister brigades and the installation Garrison and all the support that's been provided to the soldiers and families as we push our flights out the door. Just tremendous support across the board. On behalf of myself and Grey Wolf 6, we really thank everybody.
I guess the thing I would close with is I think it's kind of where you're talking about first team, right? How great the division truly is. Almost 19,000 troopers. I wake up every day. I know General Richardson does too. Just loving what we do every day. I don't take it lightly what we're about to do with Grey Wolf and ACB that's currently deployed, and we're here to support the organizations that are going out the door. But I would tell you, it's definitely an honor and a privilege to serve as a Division Sergeant Major.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. First Cav appreciates you.
Yes.
And the rest of Fort Hood appreciates you.
Yes.
And this is the only time you're ever going to hear me say this, but go first team.
There you go. Sounds good coming from you.
I appreciate that, Sergeant Major. And thank you both for coming on this episode.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your Army Digital Garrison app is a great way to explore your community. With expanded features, including access to an app library, MWR Travel Services, and American Forces Travel, the Digital Garrison provides direct access to installation-specific news, information, and alerts. Find local dining options and events. Browse great shopping deals at Your Exchange, Express, and ShopMyExchange.com, and the Commissary. Search for Digital Garrison in the App Store to connect with your installation and community. Powered by the United States Army and your exchange.
What is life? What's an honorable discharge? Sounds disgusting. Where'd my filing? Which end of the horse do I stick the carrot in?
Sporky asks a question.
I don't know. Hey, everybody. Sporky here, and I've got a big question. What is OPSEC?
Fork utensil. How is it that you don't know about operational security?
Annie Pumpkin. No need to be so formal. You can call me Sporky. All my friends do. And I know all about operational poo-poo-poo. But what is OPSEC?
Operational security's OPSEC, fork utensil.
Ooh, maybe it's OPSEC. That's spicy. Where do babies come from?
Fork utensil.
It must have something to do with the military and things. I know. I'll take pictures of stuff all over post and put them on the internet and ask, is this OPSEC? Is this OPSEC?
Fork utensil, you better not.
It's like OPSEC.
Look, there are 5 steps to OPSEC.
Oh.
Identifying critical information, identifying the threat,
Yeah.
assessing vulnerabilities,
Oh, yeah.
analyzing the risk,
Forky.
and developing and applying countermeasures.
What?
The
No.
OPSEC is pretty common sense, like not talking about troop movements or other sensitive things.
You mean it's a process by which organizations assess and protect information about things that could, if properly analyzed and grouped with other data by a clever adversary, reveal a bigger picture that ought to stay hidden.
That's exactly right, fork thingy.
Forky.
And like they used to say, loose lips sink ships.
Ooh, I love a good submarine joke, but seriously, where do babies come from?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Practicing good OPSEC is everybody's job. Protect your fellow service members. Don't be a sporky.
All right, so one thing we did forget to mention was for those soldiers or families that are looking to keep up to date with what the Grey Wolf team is up to, you can visit their Facebook page. Just look up 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 1st Cavalry Division, and you'll be able to find them.
Awesome. I
Yes.
love that.
So I know some families, like they were saying in the podcast, if you listen, they will have cell phone access. They'll be able to
Yeah.
get some SIM cards and talk to their families. But if their families just kind of want to know what's going on with the whole brigade, then
Yeah.
they can check in on the Facebook page.
I love
So,
that.
another resource.
Knowledge
Yeah.
is power.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, and I think with them being able to have cell phones, it's going to work out great for them because that way they can talk and it's easy. They can always FaceTime and there's always
Right.
Wi-Fi. I don't know anywhere in the world where there's not Wi-Fi. You may have to pay for it, but there's
You
always ways.
usually have to pay for it.
This is true.
Technology is crazy.
Technology.
Yeah.
Technology is fun, but it's also like, do we really need it? No.
Well, I think in this case, you might.
Yeah.
You may, because I know if I was ever going anywhere, I'd definitely want some way to keep in touch with the family.
Yeah.
Because
So.
heck, I still do now. I still need technology to keep in.
Yeah,
keep in
your
touch with
family's
my
not
family.
even. Some of them here is
Some
here,
we
but
have, so yeah, we have some in
still,
Texas.
Yeah.
Most of them in California. So, that distance.
Yeah.
it's a little hard to go drive home for a weekend.
Yeah,
So
I get
can
that.
imagine if you're overseas,
Oh
it's
my
even
goodness.
harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty much it. I think that conversation that we had with them was great. I think that was the first time I had met Sergeant Major Hall. I think it was pretty good. I think what else do we have in the news this week or going on Fort Hood this week?
Well,
What?
I did mention earlier that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And it is because we have a resource fair coming up, don't we?
That's
do?
right. It is called the Fort Hood Education and Family Resource Fair. That's going to happen Wednesday, July 27th from 12:30 to 4 p.m. at the Soldier Development J-Wing. And what you're going to be able to do there is get more information about local school districts, colleges, and a bunch of community resources. Also, speaking of school districts and all that good stuff, don't we have the schools people coming?
We do. Yes, we have the school liaison office
School
coming
liaison
on
office.
for our August 4th episode. So for our listeners, make sure who have kiddos, make sure that you subscribe.
Right? First
so
of
that
all.
you can hear that episode in a couple weeks talking about back to school.
Yeah.
And for people who don't have kids, we will still be talking about important things like safety and driving your car on the installation and school zones and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it should be a fun episode. I'm excited.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
School's about to start again.
I know. It's crazy. Okay,
I miss school.
I do too. Wait. We talked about this last week, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, we probably
I think so. Where we talked about like getting your school supplies.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Still excited about that. I was out grocery shopping yesterday and I was like, oh my God, they have all their school supplies out. I was so excited. I was like, I wish I was going back to school.
I used to wait till the very last minute.
Oh,
like
you're one of
that
those.
weekend before school started.
I'm the
and
same
they were
way.
just like, I'll go get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
See,
once I got to high school, it was just like my mom was like, "Hey, figure it out." It was all on you. So but I think it's the best time of the year, and then that means what else happens once school starts? What happens a couple of weeks later?
Football.
oh.
So that's always the best thing. You go back to school, then preseasons is started, so people are still just having a couple of scrimmages, and then come September. Speaking of football,
Yes.
I think it's coming up this week. Coming up,
Are you sure?
I think it is. I'm not for sure. I think a lot.
Okay.
So, but coming
this is
up,
true. He does.
we have a Dallas Cowboy. I know people here are gonna. We're in that spot where people either like the Dallas Cowboys or they
Middle
totally
ground.
hate the Dallas.
Yeah. It's
So-
middle ground.
But we're gonna have the Dallas Cowboy one of their former quarterbacks, Mr. Troy Aikman's gonna be here.
Ah, okay.
So I'm not for sure what exactly he's gonna be doing, but I do know that he's gonna hang out with soldiers all day, and I think I'm gonna get to take some pictures of him. So
well, I'm a soldier.
hey,
I want to meet Troy Aikman.
I will make sure that as soon as we have the list of what's going to happen, we'll put it on the Fort Hood Garrison Facebook page.
Yeah, make sure
Okay.
you
So
follow us.
you can find out where he's going to be.
All right. Do you think it'd be cruel to bring a Dak Prescott jersey for him to sign?
You probably would sign it, though.
You think so?
I think he would.
You think he'd get the joke?
I think he would.
Okay.
I think he
I might do it.
would. Or one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to get the joke or he's going to say, please escort this man away from me.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to be a new
50,
story.
What do you say, 50-50?
Oh, yeah, 50-50.
I'll take those odds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always.
I'll take those odds. All right. Well, is that it?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So everyone out there, just keep living La Vida Loca.
All right. Next week, we will be having Blair again
Yeah, we
on
will.
the podcast to talk about the traveling soldier. So
Oh yeah.
Blair Good.
make sure to subscribe and catch next week's episode as well.
Absolutely. And be sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen
Who are we
to
going to have
podcasts.
again?
Blair again.
Blair again?
Blair again.
Blair again. Okay.
Blair again.
Just making sure I got it right.
Yes, Blair again.
Blair again.
You're just saying it so fast that it's not even a real word anymore.
Blair again.
Blair again.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Oh boy. All right. Well, everyone, stay tuned for that for next week's episode. And thanks for listening to this week's episode. So we'll see you then.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Hood and Fort Hood Public Affairs production. The show's theme music is written and produced by Delicious All-Stars. All our music is obtained through Filter by Songtrader. Have a question or want to share some insights with us? Email us at forthoodpao@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at USAG Fort Hood. And as always, be sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.